Hi. So after now a week and a half here in Japan, I think I'm finally starting to blend in with the tradition and culture. As if you couldn't already tell, I'm in a traditional I think it's called a yukata right now. I'm currently still in Kyoto, but staying in a ryokan outside of my Airbnb. It was a recommendation of my cousin Ricky and her husband Scott. They said it was one of the experiences they enjoyed most, so I thought I would give it a shot. I'm staying in another kind of traditional style tatami room. I just came back from an 11-course dinner that was delicious. There's also a private bath downstairs, so I got to do an onsen experience, which was completely different than the onsen experience Angelica and I had in Tokyo. Tokyo, rounding out the week we had there, the last 3 days were really cool. I feel like we had a couple experiences that kind of made that portion of the trip for me. One of them being the onsen itself. There were probably 30, 40 plus older Japanese women that were all doing the traditional, so to say, routine of bathing. So that was really cool learning from them. In addition to that, we explored Asakusa. Asakusa was a really awesome district that had this big street festival that I just really enjoyed. We had probably one of our favorite meals on that street as well. It was a bowl of ramen. In Kyoto so far, I've had a couple of run-ins with some random but familiar faces. One of them being an old coworker of mine from Nordstrom. I ran into her and her twin sister today on the street. I'm probably gonna go meet up with them for a drink, even though I'm actually fighting a little bit of a cold. I don't know if you can hear it, so I'm trying to rest as well. But that was completely random, but it was awesome to have a conversation with fellow English speakers and also just catch up with her. I haven't seen her probably in at least 7 or 8 years. And then in addition to that, when I was walking through the bamboo forest yesterday, I ran into a celebrity. Her name is Shay Mitchell. I don't know if you know her, but she's on an old TV show called Pretty Little Liars. Now she kind of has a influencer persona, but essentially watched her do an impromptu Instagram photo shoot with all of these Japanese, Chinese, Korean people walking by her and not knowing who she is, and then me standing there, one American, recognizing who this lady was. So that was cool. I got to say hi to her. The rest of my trip here in Japan is closing out with 2 more days in Kyoto. I'm going to take a day trip to Nara. And then in addition to that, I'm going to go over to Osaka just for about 24 hours. So one night staying in a hostel, and then from Osaka, I'm flying out to Seoul, South Korea. Kyoto's probably slightly favored for me over Tokyo. I think just the size of it is a little bit more interesting, and the food I'm actually finding is a bit better as well, although the food in Tokyo is really good too. In general, just traveling for the last 2.5 days on my own, I have had a lot of time to reflect and continue kind of thinking, to myself how thankful and blessed I am to have this opportunity to be traveling across so many different countries in a period of time. Last night I went out to the Gion district and went to a couple bars and had some conversations in broken English. I learned a couple Japanese phrases, and I'm often learning people here in Japan haven't made it to the US, or they barely made it out of the country. So just in general, feeling really excited and thankful that I get that opportunity to do that. I hope you have a good night, and thanks for tuning in. I'll say goodbye to you in my Yukata.